Yeah, so I set up a student group with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students that are studying some sort of psychology related area. And I set that up because for me, being an Aboriginal woman, I was the only Aboriginal person studying psychology during my own degree, and it was really quite tough. There were a lot of challenges for me, and I noticed a lot of additional challenges to what some of my peers were experiencing. And so I personally wanted to set up this student group to bring all the students together to make sure that they were doing okay and also to help them through their degrees. A lot of the time, well, a lot of the issues for a lot of us Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people is that for the most part, we're not reflected in the psychology curriculum and not so much necessarily in the field in and of itself as well. That's starting to change with a lot of, really powerful people like Professor Pat Gudgeon and that in the field. But at the time when I was going through, it was really quite difficult. So I wanted to set something up to support the students and let them know that myself and my colleague, Steve Munns, who's also an Aboriginal man, are here and available for any questions to just sort of talk through any challenges that they have. And that's been really, I think, important for the students to have that safe space to be able to share a lot of those challenges that other people wouldn't necessarily be aware of or really understand firsthand. So yeah, that's what we've set up. Initially, I have to admit, it was actually a little bit hard to set up in the first instance. So I started in School of Psychology in 2021. And sort of just through conversations, I was asking around, just curious to know how many students we did have who identified as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander. And that year we only had 4 across all degree levels. But I didn't really have any way of knowing like who they were or getting in contact with them. And then that year, we tried to do some outreach programs, but there was still a lot of stuff going on with COVID. So a lot of them were cancelled last minute and that. So that wasn't a very successful year in terms of outreach initiative. Not all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people identify on their enrolment forms, and that's for various different reasons, but unfortunately, mostly because they have a concern that they, in some feedback that we've received from students, they say that they're concerned that they might be seen as filling diversity quotas, and they just really want to get in knowing full well that it's been on their own merit and not based on anything else. So they're not actually identifying on record. So that then makes it difficult for us to get in contact with them. So in the second semester of last year, so 2022, we started to do a PowerPoint slide that lecturers presented at the beginning or end of their lectures that just had a little bit of information about the student group, as well as Steve and my email address to reach out if they wanted to. So that was the way that we thought we could contact those that may not have come up on the records, but are still proud Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. That's how we've kind of been setting it up and just emailing a lot of students. So I guess that would be my advice to anybody that's trying to implement that at any other kind of school or faculty around here. Yeah, trying to find a time that the students are all free is also a little bit tough and almost impossible, because we now, so we had 4 students in 2021, about 8 in 2022, and we now have 19 that we know of in 2023. So our numbers are growing quite quickly, which is fantastic to see. But with that comes additional challenges of the fact that obviously everybody has different schedules and we're never going to find a good time that everyone can get together. So with that, the way that I kind of manage it is to just kind of circulate the day that I have drop-in sessions or the face-to-face catch-up, so that at least some people can come sometimes and then others at other times.
And a thing I didn't mention before, but the university has an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Studies unit, and in the past they have run and they continue to run support for Indigenous students on campus. But what's another advantage of what you're doing is the support specifically for psychology, which, like many UQ courses is very demanding, and it has challenges that other people don't understand. So having a specific resource available to students to support their participation in psychology is important and is beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the students, well, we're very statistics heavy in psychology, as you know. And yeah, that's one subject that I mean, a lot of people just in general struggle with, but being able to specifically support the students with statistics is really good. But yeah, going back to the challenge of the curriculum still not reflecting us as Aboriginal and Torres Strait people, that can be really challenging for students to remain enthusiastic, I guess, about their area of study and their anticipated career. So being able to be there to support them in a more discipline specific way, and being able to kind of connect them in with different sort of resources and letting them know about other influential people in our field of study. You know, a lot of influential Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander psychologists that are out there, and just kind of letting them know that, you know, it sounds terrible, but while it's tough, while you're going through your degree, and you might not be able to see how this will directly benefit people like yourself and your community, remain optimistic and enthusiastic, because once you're out the other side, there's a lot of us that are doing really great things in the space, and we're really trying to transform psychology to include us as